Hello friends and welcome to Sumilier Talkies. My name is Sumi Sarma. Today we talk about chocolates. Who doesn't crave for chocolates? And to add to it, we're going to bring in some wines. So we're going to talk about chocolate and wine pairing in this episode. Keep watching. Both chocolate and wines come from varied sources of origins. They have different levels of tannins, which contribute to texture, concentration, aromatics, intensity, different levels of finish. And that makes chocolate and wine pairing very, very subjective because it's very dependent on individual palate and what preference of sweetness. So what we did is we ran different experiments trying out chocolates, and I paired them with different wines, and we divided chocolates into three, which is dark chocolates, white chocolates, and milk chocolate, blend of both dark and white. And here you go. In this episode, we discuss about dark chocolates specifically.
My daughter and I decided to take to experiment wine pairing with chocolate, so I picked up 4 grape varietals lying in my cellar, a Grenache late bottle vintage port, Cabernet Sauvignon, and Malbec, and decided to experiment these with 2 types of chocolate, 70% dark chocolate and dark chocolate with almond and orange. Have fun watching this video on our tasting and hear what we found works best.
Took a day out to recalibrate our palate and think through all our results, and so today is another day when we are ready to talk about dark chocolates and wine pairing. I hope you enjoyed the time-lapse experiment that we conducted pairing chocolates with wine, a very informal and fun tasting session that I conducted at home with my daughter, kind of representing the starter amateur drinkers and myself, the more mature and established drinker. So we tried to cover kind of both consumer demographics to see who likes what, because as I said, chocolate and wine pairing is very subjective. The result of our experiment was that on top, the most preferred black chocolate or dark chocolate and wine pairing was LBV ports, which we both liked, late bottled vintage ports. These are ports that have been matured for 4 to 6 years, so they have got some element of complexity, but they've got lots of jammy fruit influences to them and enough tannic grip to blend with the dark chocolate tannins. So that was on top. For consumers who don't like that tannic grip but love their residual sugar, we have Tony ports as an alternative, a great way of taking away the tannins. They're very sublime tannins in Tony port because these are aged and mature for 10, 20, 30, 40 years. So the fruit is subdued, the tannins are resolved, but you get these really nice complex flavor in the palate, notes of caramel, honey, dried fruits, which also are beautiful and go hand in hand with black chocolate. The third alternative for consumers who don't like too much of residual sugar, because ports do have 100 grams per liter of residual sugar. So if you don't like so much sugar, I recommend you to try Amarone wines from Italy. So these have a hint of sugar, 5 to 15 grams per liter. So they're not as sugary as ports, but they have just that adequate level of sweetness to kind of match with the bittersweet flavors of dark chocolate. They also have enough tannins with them. And so both of them go really hand in hand. Amarone wines are beautiful when they are paired with dark chocolates. If you are a consumer who does not like residual sugar at all in your wines, then I recommend you 3 grapes that you should try: Grenache, Cabernet Sauvignon, and Malbec. We tried all these 3 grapes, and at the top, we loved the Malbec from Argentina specifically. Very polished, velvety, soft tannins, and they go quite well with the tannins of the dark chocolate. They actually kind of go underneath, so you really don't notice much of the tannins of the wine, and the fruit is also extremely ripe, so everything blends in harmoniously. So that was the first one. Next was a Cabernet Sauvignon for those who like dry wines but full of structured, robust tannins. So for people who just want that tannic kick to their Dark chocolates, that's another great alternative. So you can go for California, South Africa, Australia. These are all great because they have nice, really ripe fruit core to them. Grenache wines are a great alternative for consumers who don't like sweetness in their wines, and they don't like tannins in their wines either. So here are a few alternatives that I'm recapping for you: LBV ports, Tony ports, Amarone, and then we have dry wines, Grenache, Cabernet Sauvignon, as well as Malbec from Argentina. So try these with your dark chocolates. In our next episode, we are going to continue with white chocolates and blended milk chocolates, which will also be equally fun. Subscribe to my videos on the YouTube here at Sumi Sarma. If you have any wine questions, throw it to me at my website www.sumilier.com, where I have a lot more content. You can also connect with me on my Facebook page at Sumilier, or on my Twitter at Sumi_Sumilier. Alternatively on Instagram for loads of pictures and visuals at Sumilier Tasting. Lovely to talk to you. Subscribe to the videos, and I'll connect with you soon on our next wine and chocolate pairing to talk about white chocolates and milk chocolate pairing with wines.